So, yeah, I am actually on the yard, but I've actually got my girl parked in my own shed. We've got the little baler just there, and if you look down the side, you've got the little International down there that was last year's winter project, which didn't get touched. So, but yeah, today I want to give what I would call a short service. Basically, we are changing engine oil, both the oil filters. I've only had them for about a month and a half. Fuel filter, and then down here, our coolant filter. Now, as most people know, dropping the engine oil out, you want to do it warm, which means really you should run her up and get the oil all nice and warm. But I see it's a good excuse to take her out for a run. So that's what we're going to do. Assuming she fires, because last time I tried to start her, she wasn't feeling in a very adventurous mood. Well, that sounds better. Alright, so we can blow the cobwebs out of the shed. Or snot. Right, so as my big Ford decides we won't play and I haven't got any jump leads with me, we're going to play with the little Ford. My Ford pickup. Now this has had it for quite a while. I've got a engine management light on, which is all down to this little thing here, which is the EGR valve, or to give it its full name, exhaust gas recirculation valve. And basically what that is, it's to do with cleaning up the emissions. It recirculates, well, as it says, recirculates the exhaust gas back through the engine to reburn it to create cleaner exhaust gases out the back. The only thing is, when that goes faulty, it can put too much exhaust back into the engine at the wrong time, at the wrong idle speed, creating huge clouds of black smoke. I mean, to the point at the moment this thing smokes nearly as much as a big Ford. So I'm going to try a simple thing. I'll see whether this works. Basically what I'm going to do, take the EGR valve off. I've got some brake plate cleaner, try and scrub it out, clean it out, reset the EGR, the engine management, which I'm going to do. It's not the best way, but it's what I'm going to do with what I've got. Disconnect the battery for 10-15 seconds, maybe something like, yeah, about 15 seconds, which hopefully should reset the engine management and get rid of my fault code. Right, so we've managed to get it out. As you can imagine, trying to pull it out from there. Do that light off. There we go, that's better. Trying to pull it out from down there has not been easy, especially not with my fat hands. But this is the item. This is where I think my trouble is. You can see we're a bit... Can we see properly? Hang on. You look down in there, we're a bit gundry, not as bad as I was expecting, to be fair. But what does concern me is this, because that tells me, camera's going to focus on it properly, that tells me somebody's been there before and been messing around with it. So I'm going to have a bit of a clean up with it, with a bit of brake cleaner and various bits and things. and see where we get to. I'm gonna open that up and just have a look, see what I can see in there as well. So I'll let you have a look in there. Right, so I've got the top off. All it is like a little potentiometer. Basically, all it do is tell the engine management, the ECU, where exactly how. Focus, come on. No? Let's focus on the screwdriver. Why won't you just... There, right. Basically, all that does a little potentiometers, the EGR valve opens and closes, moves that little rod to tell the ECU, the brain of the engine, how open or shut the EGR valve is, to work out all the rest of the gubbins. This stuff that's all over it is, by the looks of it, the way it's cleaned off, is like a non-setting gasket goo. So I'm going to clean this up now, put the top back on it, and then we're going to, let's say I've made a start on cleaning it up, clean this up a bit more, and pray, I think. So this is the valve all cleaned up now. You see it's nice and shiny on the rods down the bottom. I've not re-sealed that because it's got an O-ring in it, so it should have never had the gasket stuff on it in the first place. My worry is I think it could be that part that's at fault, which I can't do anything with. And a new one of them is 200 quid. Bloody joke. So anyway, I'm going to refit it and take it for a run, and we shall see what happens. Right, I've got the EGR valve back on. I'm just going to try and reset the what's name on. We'll just sort of go through. I don't know if anyone's interested, but sort of show the difference between what I call the modern, the old style diesel engines and the modern common rail engines. So you have a look at the old girl, because she's quite easy to see what's what. With an old style engine, you have the fuel pump, which it's driven off your timing gears. It's got to be timed to the engine. This is a precision piece of equipment which not only puts the fuel up to high pressure, but also meters the fuel per cylinder. As you can see, that this is all your pump here, with your 6 injector pipes, obviously because she's a 6-cylinder, and then they run up to each individual injectors. That's the top of one of the injectors there. We've got another one. You can see they go into the top of the head. And you can see all that goes into them is your high pressure pipe, which is that one there, and then you've got what you call a leak off or a spill pipe above to take excess fuel back to the tank. Very basic, very simple system. There's no electronics to it. It's just all machined moving parts. Now if we go over to my pickup, which this is what you class as a modern engine, down in the guts down there is a high pressure pump, which again it is I think that's it down there. You can just see it down there, which it is just a high pressure pump. All that does is take the fuel from the filter and put it into a high pressure. I can't remember the pressures. The pressures are ridiculous. Even more so with these common rail engines. These run at such a high pressure. But all that pump does is put the fuel up in high pressure and put it into what is called the fuel rail. This is where the common rail comes from, which is this piece here. All that is a very heavy, well, it's actually a cast tube. And so you see that the fuel coming into it. sensor there to tell the engine what pressure is in there and work out accordingly. And then you've got your 4 pipes that go up to the injectors, but they're just sharing the pressure out here. There's no regulation up here until you get up to here. Now, take that out of the way. These are your individual injectors. You know, there's 4 because this is a 4-cylinder engine. But yeah, you've got, as before, you've got your high pressure pipe into the injectors, your spill lines to take excess fuel back to the tank. Where this differs is you also have a wire running into it, because the difference is here now, the fuel is now, instead of being metered by the pump, it's actually metered by the ECU, the engine control unit, which sends a signal down to this wire, and then you'll have got a little valve in here which meters the fuel. So the injectors are injecting the fuel and metering the fuel, whereas before on the old engine the injector pump was metering the fuel and the injector was just, as it sounds, an injector. That's all it does, is inject the fuel in. So yeah, there's a brief sort of explanation of the difference between a common rail and what I call a basic engine. If everyone's interested, there's probably quite a few people that have just fast forwarded, or just given up watching altogether. Right, so don't worry, I'm on private lane now. So, just coming back from road test, big question is, has it all been for worth it? Have I solved my problem? Computer says no. It's looking like I'm going to have to buy a EGR valve, which, yeah, they're not overly cheap. And take from there, possibly get it on into a garage and get it on diagnostic, obviously, because I don't work enough with modern engines that don't have diagnostic equipment, so it was worth a go, I suppose. Right, so I'm just strapping me load up. Stick you. Yeah, you can have a look through the bales for a minute just while I get this ratchet on. So yeah, may remember if you watch me regularly, last week's video had a bit of something different on the end of it. I put a little bit of a thing, load of the week. My plan is that's going to be a weekly regular thing. So those who've been following me for a good while may remember me going on that. Yeah, my brother's on the trucks. He was on sort of heavy haulage and crane work, but he's left there now and is working for a company called ML Young on low loader work. Oops, probably soaked the lens. Mainly hauling agricultural equipment about. It's just not, just gonna have to wait like that a minute. So yeah, and he keeps sending me the various things that he's hauling, and I find them interesting, so I thought I'd start sharing them with you. So I've told him, and he's going to make sure he tries to send me 1 or 2 good pictures every, why is that not focusing? Every week now, and the best one I think will go onto the, hang on, any better? No, don't know what's going on with this. Looks from my hand. Trailer? No. Anyway, so yeah, that's it basically. Load of the week is me brother. Whatever he takes a picture of that I think's half decent, I'll stick it up at the end of every week's video.